Hello, everyone. It's Mike Morrell, Morel. I'm an author. Check out my stuff on Blurb and WordPress down below. My schizoid videos are the most popular on my channel. I think that my voice on the subject is something that people want to listen to. And I actually have some more things to say about it, so I thought I'd make a video. Please, I apologize. It's really early in the morning. I'm very tired, and this is the only time this week that fit in for me to record videos. So if it's a little bit more rambly than otherwise, that's why. So in this video, we're going to go specifically over the criteria, and I'm going to make comment on my interpretation of the criteria. I'm also going to tell you about how I match the criteria in my specific way. But before we do that, there's two things that I want to share about schizoid personality disorder that are very interesting and relevant. The first is that it's considered to be one of the most poorly understood psychiatric conditions. And that is not because, in my opinion, it's not because it's difficult to understand or that it's really that mysterious. The reason why is because schizoids do not show up in therapy. It's hard to find them. They're like ghosts. A lot of them don't want help. A lot of them feel as though the mental health system is not made for them. And I'll touch upon them. But you can't really study it if you can't find them in the first place. So it's very poorly understood. Second thing that I find it really interesting is that it is the only psychiatric disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, the DSM-V, that is characterized only by negative traits. So it's all about what you don't do as opposed to what you do. Other psychiatric conditions have positive traits, such as bipolarity. They have mania, schizophrenia, they have hallucinations and delusions. Schizoids are all about what they don't have. It's about what they don't do. And I encourage you to think of those things as deficits that you can raise, and I'll get to that. So we'll just talk criteria now. There's 7. Keep in mind that in order to be diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder, you only need 4 of 7. I have no idea why these are magic numbers, why there's 7 traits, why you need to have 4 of them in order to be diagnosed formally. There's flexibility involved in all of this. Hopefully you can find a therapist that is able to navigate this subtlety, because it's not so easy to see into someone's mind and know for certain what's going on with them. That's not really what psychiatrists and therapists do. They have observed traits. You have to actually be in the chair telling them things that they can know, as opposed to, if you're a schizoid, it's likely that you have a very expansive inner world. Well, if you have this huge inner world, as I do, you can tell them all about it, but that's not hard data. This is what is considered to be the hard data. So 1 through 7. Number 1, neither desires nor enjoys close relationships, including with those with family. Number 2, almost always chooses solitary activities. Number 3, has little, if any, interest in sexual experiences with another person. Number 4, finds pleasure in few, if any, activities. Number 5, lacks close friends or confidants other than first-degree relatives. Number 6, appears indifferent to both praise and criticism. Number 7, displays emotional coldness, detachment, or flattened affectivity. I'm going to go through them, tell you what I think of them and how they apply to me. Neither desires nor enjoys close relationships, including with family. So, does it sound like you? Tell me in the comments if you actually are diagnosed or if it sounds like you. But what if there's no one in your life that's worth engaging with? What if it's incidental? What if you have strong preferences as to who you hang out with? Like, you only want to talk to smart people that give you smart conversation, and everyone else is just kind of boring. Maybe your family, it emphasizes family in this sense, which I guess makes sense to a degree because family are supposed to be strongly attached to them. I'm not as strongly attached to my family as other people. I do engage with them, but I would not say that I'm close to any of them besides my father. And maybe that's not enough to be considered and close relationships. It emphasizes close. Well, what is so great about being that close to another person? How do you measure closeness? Maybe you as a schizoid know someone and you're close to them in your mind, but they're not close to you because that's not necessarily that different from just other relationships in general. He's my best friend, but I'm not his best friend, right? Almost always chooses solitary activities. Again, it's almost only chooses solitary activities, right? So there's this outdoor that doesn't make sense to me. And what's wrong with solitary activities? You know, introversion as a trait evolved because there is labor that needs to be done alone. We wouldn't have as introverted people as a species if there wasn't, you know, this kind of work, that a lot of work that you can do behind a desk or not talking to anybody. So you have people who are better able to tolerate that, to step into those positions, and they do better than others, because if you put an extrovert in there, they're going to go crazy. They need to be engaging with other people. So activities that have overlaps with autism as well, because autistic people tend to have few interests, but they're very intense. So maybe schizoids have few interests, but they're not intense. I'm not really sure. So number 4, that's a little strange one. I skipped number 3. Has little, if any, interest in sexual experiences with another person. Maybe you're too young. That's an obvious one. Maybe you're asexual. Maybe you just don't have much of a sex drive. Maybe you're intimidated by sex. I personally have had sexual experiences, and I tend to have them in the future. But it's another one that is it really that odd for someone to point out that you don't want to engage with sex with other people? I think that most people think, well, you know, sex is one of the best experiences that you can have as a human being. Love is one of the most, intense experiences you can have as a human being. Why wouldn't you seek them out? I think there's a lot of reasons why. And I don't know whether or not that's really disordering. Don't the criteria have to be disordering in order to be considered that? It's weird. It's weird that they would mention sex to me. It's not something that really, I guess, jives with my understanding of it, because even, especially nowadays with pornography and so on, it's like, well, maybe I just don't want to pay to have a relationship, you know, and so on. There's lots of reasons. That doesn't mean that you're not schizoid because of this trait. It just calls into question, when you read these traits, it's like, well, I have all these problems socially, and I'm this kind of person, but this is confusing to me. It's still confusing to me today, and I've been diagnosed for 3 years, and I've known that I've had it for like 10, and it's still strange to me. Lacks close friends or confidants other than first-degree relatives. Kind of a copy of number 1. First-degree relatives, same as family. Close friends, confidants, same as close relationships. It's a redundant criteria. So many of my comments are the same as before. What if they're just not good enough for you, and you're alone because of that? I guess it would depend on whether or not you're okay with that solitude. So in peers indifferent to both praise and criticism. This one is definitely the strange one to me, because first of all, why do I need to kiss your ass every single time that you say something nice about me? Or do I need to get upset every single time that someone says something mean about me? And I think that this really is rooted in schizoids probably just meeting these things rationally. It's like, did I do a good job? Okay, good. Doing the good job is enough for me. I don't necessarily need you to apply more layers of praise and more layers of the social engagement with me in order to get me to continue to do a good job, right? I don't need the attaboys and the slaps on the backs in order to want to do a good job at work. You know, I'm not self-conscious about my appearance. I don't need to be told that I look good. So praise and criticism, you know, why is that a diagnostic criteria? What about that is so outstanding that it has to do with what the core of the disorder is? You know, it's just, I don't know how uncommon that is with praise and criticism, that people are like, always, oh, thank you so much. Well, you know what? Most of the time I fake that. I'm not interested in just always having this obligation to make other people good just because they're trying to make me feel good, right? Displays emotional coldness, detachment, or flattened affect. So that's 3 different things that are not necessarily the same. So coldness means the other person is feeling it, right? You're perceiving them as cold. And that can be caused by disdain. That can be caused by hidden contempt, and so on and so forth. But schizoids are, you know, they might be having these emotions, but how much emotions do you have to have in order to be considered normal? That's totally immeasurable. Affect is immeasurable. Okay, that's the third thing that they mention. They can't put a computer screen to you and tell you exactly how much affect you have. Okay, how much outward emotional display you have. And detachment, why do I need to be engaged all the time? People aren't engaged all the time. in what they're doing. Detachment from what? I feel like I've not even gone into half of what I think about the diagnostic criteria, and I've gone through all 7. Right? It's just not convincing to me. And you only need 4 out of 7. I meet all of them except I think maybe 3, I guess, and 7. I tend to be a little bit more expressive than maybe schizoids are. Maybe that comes across in this video. Maybe it doesn't. I'm really not sure. And they're situational. They're not constant for me. They shift. They change with age. It's so weird how flexible the language is and how obvious it is a spectrum. And none of these things are things that therapists are very well trained in because they're too busy chasing after fucking antisocials and borderlines and psychopaths and so on, people that can't be really fixed. Because, antisocial and asocial, I'll just very briefly mention. Antisocial means against society. Asocial means not social. So antisocial behavior is criminal behavior. And a lot of people get that confused. If you are someone who doesn't engage with other people, you're asocial. Okay? So just remember that. I swear I'm not lying. It's just that the people use it wrong. It's like I could care less and it couldn't care less, right? Couldn't care less is the correct one. Could care less is semantically inaccurate. And people say it anyway. So yeah, it's all very strange. I'm not sharing that many observations, but I think that schizoid personality disorder is an archaic concept. It has an archaic name, schiz. That means it's related to schizophrenia. They know that a lot of people with schizophrenia have this disorder, and people in their families that don't have schizophrenia have heightened levels of traits in these things very often. But I think that whatever they're going to do with it, knowing the APA, they'll just can the whole thing and just not include it and not replace it with anything for another 10 or 15 years. But the concept will always be there to help you investigate yourself. And that's really what I was doing when I started to think about these things, because I only got diagnosed because my therapist and my family were gaslighting me. They were telling me that I don't have these traits and I'm not really this person. And I'm saying this is nothing in the world describes me better than this. This is the root of all of my problems. It's not autism anymore. It's not bipolarity anymore. It's not Tourette's anymore. This is the thing that remains. And they would not listen to me. So I had to get a new therapist, argue my heart out, and really make her understand. It's like, look, I need a test because people are not listening to me. And what if I need to go to an employer in the future? I need to have a piece of paper that says something. I'm not going, and she did get me that. I took a psychiatric evaluation that had different aspects to it. It took 4.5 hours to do the whole thing. And it did prove that I have schizoid personality with no admixture from any other personality disorders. So I keep it on my phone. I keep the paperwork on my phone. So in case I'm talking to someone, I can say, look, it's right fucking here. Stop gaslighting me. And it was just really unfortunate and painful to have to go through that, and humiliating, to be honest with you, because people just won't listen to you. I have a whole video about why people misunderstand, right? And really, because they're considered negative traits, the things that you don't do, like I said at the beginning of the video, I encourage you to think of them as deficits that you can raise a little bit in order to be more functional. So maybe you'll be better at cooperating with others. Maybe you'll discover that you do want a sex life. Maybe you will have romantic relationships and so on. These are all things that maybe you think that you don't want at this time, but you might in the future. And again, I'm saying maybe and might a lot. If you are a schizoid watching this video, I'm never going to tell you that you have to change or that you have to do this or that what you're like is bad. I'm not going to be the one to gaslight you. But it is possible that if you just adjust these traits a little bit without trying to change your core self, because that's what therapists do too often, is they think that the core self of the schizoid is the thing that they're trying to drive at and bring out of them, when the core of the schizoid is not that. It's something very, very different. You have to layer masking on top of it so that you can actually go to work and people don't perceive you as strange, or they don't mind that you are very quiet, and so on and so forth. So that's how I encourage you to think about it. It's not about changing yourself utterly. It's not about self-hatred. It's not about justifying reasons for why the world sucks, that the world doesn't suck, but you suck. Usually the other way around. The world is doing this to you for the most part. The world, personality disorders are just different expressions of trauma. And I was traumatized as a kid in various ways. And you likely were too if you are someone that is chronically alone and doesn't want to be around other people and only sticks to what they like, and so on and so forth. So those are pretty much my thoughts. They're things that you could find anywhere. If you want to research schizoid personality disorder, I have read a lot of different stuff. I'm not going to link anything, but start with the Wikipedia page. I'm telling you, I've been reading that like once or twice a year for 10 years, and it's gotten to the point where it's extremely good. And I know, Wikipedia, it's unreliable. Not in this instance. And besides, Wikipedia, it's sourced. You can look at the sources and decide whether or not you agree with them or not. And just read it. If you read it and 90% of it applies to you, then maybe you are schizoid and maybe you should start formulating strategies to better deal with the world. And I think that's about it. So you got another schizoid video, and I hope that it wasn't too rambly. I am very tired, but I'm glad that I got at least one video done this morning. So thank you very much.